Hello, it's Sonia here with a Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Tuesday, and that means it's Tunisian Tuesday. So we are going to be doing a stitch pattern today. So I am using my K hook here. And I do suggest when learning this stitch or practicing this stitch to use a slightly larger hook. I just find it to be a little bit easier when learning. I mean, you can certainly use whatever hook size you want, but I just found I think it's just a little easier with a slightly larger hook. So it's going to be a variation of the knit stitch. It looks twisted, so I don't know if it's exactly the twisted knit stitch. I'm not even sure if there is a twisted knit stitch. I'll have to look into that, but it looks twisted to me. And so you'll be able to chain any amount that you want. So I am using just basic worsted weight number 4 yarn, and I chained 12. So we are going to pull up our loops like we normally do. So in the second chain from our hook in that back bump, just pulling up loops. So with this stitch, I find a slightly larger hook and having a more relaxed hand, which is kind of tricky for me because I like to crochet tightly. It's just how I crochet. I have to kind of tell myself to just chill out a little bit and relax. But we will do our best. And of course my chain is wonkadoodle here. I find when I do a chain with a larger hook it gets a little funky. But we're gonna power through. And if you've never done Tunisian crochet, I do have a playlist that goes over the basics to get you started. So Tunisian crochet, each row is always worked in 2 parts. So we are doing the first part called the forward pass, where you are putting your stitches on your hook, and the second part is the return pass, where you take your stitches off your hook. Each part is 1 row. So I chained 12. So because I chained 12, I have 12 loops on my hook. All right, so let's do our return pass. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so there we go. There is row 1. All right, so let's begin. This is just a 1 row repeat. So you're going to repeat row 2 for however long you want your swatch. So when you're doing the traditional knit stitch, what you're doing is you're working, so here's our vertical bar, our first vertical bar, you're working through it. And then you pick up your loop. And we're still going to do that, but we're going to take this first vertical bar, we're going to pull it this way, and then work through. So try not to overthink it. It's really not hard. So you're going to have your hook this way. You're going to grab that first vertical bar and then go through and pull up your loop. So you can see how it twists it, and you're going to do that all the way across. So the next one, so you have to make sure your hook is like this. Just grab that vertical bar through, pull up a loop, grab it, and you want to make sure when you're grabbing it, let me spread this apart. So when you're looking at your stitch here, your vertical bar, if you really spread it apart, it actually looks like a chain. So I'm trying to use all these visual aids here. So you have, this is your regular vertical bar, you spread it apart. This is the other part of the chain here. So doing that knit stitch, you work right through. But when you're pulling this vertical bar this way, you are working still through, you're working through, but you're going next to it like that. So you want to make sure when you're doing that, that's where your hook goes. So I have my hook this way, I'm pulling it. So there's that other part of that chain, that stitch that looks like chain, then I pull it through to get that twisted. So you can kind of see how it is twisted there. So just grab it and give it a pull and through, pick up your loop. That's why I find it a little easier using a larger hook, slightly finer yarn. I mean, this is like a normal yarn, like Workhorse number 4 worsted weight. But with a K hook, then it does make it slightly finer. And that's why you want to also crochet a little more loosely so that you can easily do the stitch. And as you can see, I'm kind of like spreading things apart, loosening it up. It's fine, it's not hurting anything. So there we go. Now we are at our last stitch that looks like a chain, and we always just work through that guy, pull up our loops. So I should still have 12 loops on my hook, and I do. And so you do your return pass the same. So you're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. So I think this is a really cool stitch. It's a fun variation of the knit stitch. I did see it on a shorts, a little mini tutorial that somebody did. And they didn't really explain it or go over it. So I'm more of a detailed gal. I like to really kind of expound upon things. So some people might not like that, but I just want everybody to really understand what's happening and be able to do the stitch. All right, so again, you're going to repeat row 2. So we can do another row here. So again, you're going to have your hook this way, grab that vertical bar, pull it through, so I find the second row to be doing the stitch a little easier, but we are on row 3. And as you keep going with this stitch, you'll really start to see kind of how it still looks like a knit stitch, but it's twisted. Now, of course, this one does curl. Knits Tunisian crochet a lot of times does curl, and this one is no exception. And pull up that loop. So you can already see how we're curling up, but if you add some purl stitches in there, that would help with the curling. So I'm going to work a few more rows so you can really see this stitch pattern. All right, so here you can really see the stitch pattern. I worked 12 rows. So let's do a bind off row. And we're going to bind off in pattern. So we're going to do that twisted stitch and then work the bind off. So you really want to make sure that you do not do your bind off too tight. So if you're unfamiliar with binding off, I do have that in the playlist with getting started with Tunisian crochet, telling you what the basics are. If you can do regular crochet, you can do this. So if you know your basic stitches and binding off, you'll be able to do pretty much whatever you want with Tunisian crochet. And we are all set. So as you can see, we have a curler on our hands. So if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to make a blanket or something with this stitch, which actually would be a very nice blanket. I would even maybe want to use a larger hook than this, maybe like an end hook or something like that. And then you would want to incorporate probably some purl stitches, so maybe like a nice purl stitch border so that it would help it with the curling. And so I did make another little swatch with 8 stitches using worsted weight, and I used a smaller hook so you can see the difference here. I used an eye hook or a 5.5 millimeter hook, and it was fine. I just think it was a little bit trickier than using this large K hook here. So if you want to learn this stitch, again, I suggest using a larger hook if you have one. If you don't, that's okay. You can still do it. But again, I do think it's a pretty stitch. I really like it, even though it has a little bit of stretch to it, but not too much there. But I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.